Banks. People confuse banks with the free market. Banking has almost nothing to do with the free market anymore. A little bit, but very little to do with the free market. Central banks in particular, you're forced to use government currency. You can't compete with government currency. That's called counterfeiting. And the idea that central banks have anything to do with the free market is a massive delusion. Banks used to be, hey, keep my gold because it could get stolen from my house, and lend some money out to some businesses so that I get a little rate of return on my deposits, and you create jobs so that my kids have a future. That's hang on to my money, lend it out a little bit. But you see, that's work. Right? Hanging on to the money, not so much work, just a bunch of vaults and so on. But actually lending money to businesses in the hopes that they will grow, that takes a lot of work and that actually has some risk. Right? What you want to do is borrow the money from the Fed at a tiny interest rate or a negative interest rate, and then buy government bonds at a couple of points, and then sit back and call yourself a business genius. Actually learning about people's businesses and investing, that takes a lot of risk. It's much easier to go to the government, lend to them, extend and then pretend you have a real job. Like when I was an entrepreneur, before I did this show, I was a software entrepreneur for 15 years or so. And yes, we would have to sit down with the bank and we'd have to get loans sometimes. We'd have to get credit loans because, cash flow is king in all businesses. And, we had to explain our business. We had to show business plans and they had to evaluate it and figure out the risk and so on. It's hard work. It's an honorable, decent job. Nothing to do with really what banks do anymore. Now, banks are just an extension of the government, and they are a class that gets between the citizens and the government, right? As I think Thomas Sowell, great economist, has pointed out, governments love to have a pseudo-capitalist class to sit between them and the voters, so that when the government screws up, they can say, the bankers, or the media can say, it's the bankers who are the problem, and this is just a distraction. The real person behind the curtain is the guy with the flag and the gun.